The story begins with a guy named Yoshino going back to his dorm and finding out that the dorm is closed for some reason. Recently, a new strain of virus broke out into a pandemic, and lots of people have been getting sick. Seeing no way in, Yoshino meets a janitor and asks him about the situation. And the old man tells him that a person was found infected inside the dorms. So they disinfected the place, and it has been decided that the dormitory will be closed from today. He tells him that everyone else has already gone back to their hometowns. The janitor says that he was told to inform everyone in the dorm, but he forgot to tell Yoshino because he was away, and apologies for the inconvenience, leaving Yoshino shocked because all his belongings are still inside. Yoshino never imagined the situation would turn around like this when he was goofing around in the club room. He calls his mother, but she refuses to welcome him home because she is afraid of getting an infection from him. After that, he calls his friends one after the other, but all of them refuse to take him in as well. With no help from others, he decides to go to the internet cafe to spend the night, but the receptionist apologizes, saying that students are not allowed to use the facilities after 10 p.m. He tries his luck at restaurants and karaoke places, but he gets refused by all of them because he is young and a student. His poor wallet does not even allow him to spend a night in a hotel, so instead he decides to stay outside on a bench, thinking that as it's spring, it won't be as cold outside. Later that night, while lying down on the bench, he sees an angel-like girl walking towards him and recognizes that she is Hashikawa Haruka from his class. As they make eye contact, both of them quickly turn their heads away and pretend they did not see each other. After that, she pulls out her mobile phone and starts moving around with her hands up in the air. Yoshino wonders what she's doing and notices her speaking like a robot, saying how she's in real trouble because she can't catch any Wi-Fi signals. Just then, their eyes meet again, and this time, Yoshino decides to talk to her, but his sudden reaction startles her. He apologizes to her for scaring her like that, but she says that it's fine, and then suddenly acts flustered and says that she did not recognize him earlier because of his mask in the darkness. Yoshino confirms his identity and wonders why she's acting so strange. After that, she changes her tone to her usual self and asks why he is here at this late hour, to which he tells her that he was planning to sleep outside. He tells her everything about the closed dorms and how he has nowhere else to go because his family is scared of the infection and does not want him to come home. He then asks what she is doing here, to which she bluntly says that she came to catch the Wi-Fi signals as she heard they won't be able to take classes without Wi-Fi. She thought she would go and catch some signals from the park. Hearing this, Yoshino cuts her off and tells her that the public Wi-Fi can only be used around here, but if she has a network at home, she can set up a remote environment there. He asks if she has a network or Wi-Fi at home, as she is smart and can understand things on her own, but she says no and acts miserable, saying she is not good with machines. She knows he has joined the computer club and requests that he teach her about the computers. Seeing her desperate request, he starts to wonder if it is a dream because a day has come when Hashikawa would ask for his help. He agrees to help, thinking that helping her would be much better than sleeping outside. She grabs his shirt and forces him to get up, where she steps ahead, and he thinks that it seems like they are on a date. Her home is an apartment in a huge building, which amazes him as she seems like a rich baddie, whereas he lives in a stingy boy's dorm. She takes him inside, and he observes that everything is spectacular and a piece of art. She finally pulls off her mask, revealing her bright moon-like face, which stings his eyes to the point where he cannot even open them. Anyways, she points to the room where her computer is, but before that, he says he wants to greet her family. To his surprise, she says she is living alone, which makes him more flustered because it's just the two of them in a girl's home. She asks if he does not want to come, but having no choice, he denies it and follows her to her bedroom, which smells so nice. She points to the laptop, which is on the table, and he sees that it's the same laptop loaned from the school as his laptop. So he plans to quickly finish it and get out of here like a good boy. He stands right in front of her and says that she wants to touch it, but she takes its wrong meaning and blushes hard and gets flustered. He wonders if there is a tab she does not want him to touch, so he asks her to touch it first, and here again, she misunderstands his meaning and says if he has experience with it. Not knowing what is blabbering, he goes ahead and touches the laptop to see what issue it has. While he blabbers about how to connect her computer with Wi-Fi, she remains frozen there, embarrassed because of her dirty thoughts. When he is done with the Wi-Fi connection, he says it will connect with the computer automatically the next time she opens the laptop. And when he is about to go, she grabs his hand and cutely thanks him, saying he really helped her. He is confused about the situation and repeats that he is going back. She asks where he will go, and he tells her that he will stay outside, to which she says she has a spare room next door, and it's already this late. He really does not get her and wonders if she is hinting that he can stay here for a night. But asking it directly seems troubling because she is really popular in school, and getting hated by her just due to his response does not sit well with him. She comes up with another excuse, saying she's bad with machines and can't handle anything besides Wi-Fi. With online classes starting soon, she worries she might not be able to join. Meanwhile, he's already good with tech. When she makes a pleading face, he bluntly asks if she's hinting that it's okay for him to stay. She goes blank for a moment, then says it's only if he wants to. So he politely requests to stay, saying it would really help him. Her face lights up with excitement, and she happily agrees. He's confused and asks if it won't bother her, but she quickly denies it, saying she's honestly happy about it, which makes him wonder why. She quickly makes up a reason, saying she wants to learn about machines from him, and he reassures her that he'll teach her as much as she wants. Her cute smile with a little face card makes him pause and wonder if this adorable girl is really the same flawless beauty from his class. She lets go of his hand in excitement, saying she's looking forward to learning from him. He smirks, repeats her line, and gives a small bow in return as a thank you. In her room, she seems so excited and glad that her lie did not get caught. Ever since she was a child, her family told her that she was not good at lying, and they could tell she was lying by looking at her eyes. But now it did not work out in the case with her beloved Yoshino. She lies in her bed, feeling a little guilty for lying to him, but at the same time she's grateful, because that lie let her live with the boy she likes. She recalls the whole scene that happened today and accepts that finding him in the park was no coincidence, it was all planned. When she learned that the student dorm was closed, she worried about him, wondering if he had gone home. She felt lonely, but what mattered was him doing good. However, another thought crossed her mind. What if he could not make it home? She quickly opened her laptop, as she was smart and not bad with machines, and she disconnected it from Wi-Fi. She thought about where he could stay and concluded that the park was the only place where he could stay overnight. She went there on purpose because catching Wi-Fi was not her goal. Catching Yoshino was. She was giggling the whole time under the mask when lying, but being bad at machines was something she made up on the spur of the moment because she did not think how to approach him. She thinks back to how it all began last year, when she was struggling to connect her phone after just moving to the city before the entrance ceremony, with no one to rely on. As she muttered about having no one to ask for help during spring break, he happened to walk by. She stopped him and asked if he could help her connect her phone to the internet. He took her phone, quickly found the issue, and handed it back, explaining that it had been trying to connect to random Wi-Fi, but it was fixed now. She thanked him sincerely and mentioned that she had just moved and didn't know anyone around. He guessed she might be planning to enroll at the school, and when she said yes, he told her he was enrolling there too. With a warm smile, he said if she ever ran into trouble again, he'd be there to help. That was the moment she realized that she had fallen for him. She continues to recall the flashback, remembering how she later found him in the same class. His calm and indifferent attitude toward the girls around him made her think he was cool, or maybe, deep down, she already liked him, but at the time, she had no idea how to approach him. So, being a maiden in love, she started to daydream about her to the point her unrequited love intensified, and her desires became uncontrollable. Thus, she ended up bringing him home. While giggling to herself about him, she thinks he's really cute and wonders if she had pulled even more pranks on him. What kind of reactions would he have shown? Her love for him only grows stronger. Even though she wants to touch him, just imagining him touching her back then sends her into a flustered panic. With her heart racing so fast, it feels like a heart attack. Not wanting to stay flustered, she gets up with determination, knowing she has another challenge ahead, getting closer to her beloved boy. But she doesn't want to come off as pushy or look like an easy girl, so she decides to subtly lure him into making the first move. That way, she can keep her feelings and hidden desires under wraps. She even wonders if sneaking into his bed might not be such a bad idea. Meanwhile, he's flustered himself, just thinking about what it means to be living together with Hashikawa. The next morning, when Yoshino is half awake, he feels something squishy touching his arms, and then he quickly opens his eyes to see that Hashikawa is sleeping in his bed, right next to him. In shock, he shouts and quickly gets up, whereas Hashikawa is still sleepy and does not seem surprised. He asks what she is doing in this room, to which she rhetorically asks if it is not her room. Being a decent man, he closes his eyes and reminds her that her bedroom was next to this room. When she sees him getting flustered, she gets up and apologizes that she was half asleep and got into the wrong room. She leaves the room, saying she will make breakfast for him and wait for him. Meanwhile, Yoshino calms himself down and thinks that he can still feel her squishy and warm body, and hopes that he has not done something wrong with her. He heads to the bathroom and notices men's clothes and a toothbrush, which makes him assume they might belong to her boyfriend, especially since everything else she owns is pink. He had imagined her as a pure angel, but if she really has a boyfriend, then his staying there might be causing trouble for them. When he enters the kitchen, he sees her preparing breakfast, being the waifu material, and she says all that's left is the cooking. Since breakfast isn't ready yet, he offers to help and casually asks if she's good at it, to which she replies that she lives alone, so she can manage to some extent. He mentions he's a little worried, since electric stoves and microwaves are technically machines, and she once admitted she's not good with those. She quickly denies it, saying she really can't use them, which is exactly why cooking has been a challenge for her. He glances at the rice cooker, and she defensively explains that she somehow managed to cook rice with sheer determination. With a puzzled look, he praises her effort, calling it impressive. She then leans forward and asks him to teach her how to use the stove. Using hand gestures, he explains that the switch to turn it on and off is in the middle, and there's another button to control the heat. But she's greedy for his attention and asks him to come closer and show her directly. He refuses at first, saying rice and boiled eggs are good enough for him. However, when he sees the annoyed look on her face, he gives in, realizing he's a freeloader staying in her home and can't exactly say no. He moves in and points to the switch button, but just as she asks him to touch it, a fuzzy memory of accidentally touching her soft arms flashes in his mind. He turns away, blushing, and when she asks why his face is red, he awkwardly says it might be because the pot is getting hot. After they finish making breakfast, he eagerly digs into the food and praises her, saying it's delicious. He's genuinely impressed, especially knowing she struggles with machines. That reminds him about things she has done, and he thanks her for the meal, for giving him a place to stay, and even for the clothes he's wearing. She casually tells him not to worry about the clothes and says he can keep them. But he hesitates, wondering if they aren't her boyfriend's. That question leaves her stunned and blank for a moment. Then she suddenly bursts out, explaining that she doesn't have a boyfriend and never had one, and she only bought the clothes to be well prepared. Realizing he has jumped to conclusions, he apologizes. With a slightly gloomy look, she admits that he's the first person she's ever let into her space, and hearing that, he feels a bit embarrassed. He shifts into a serious tone, asking if there's anything he can do for her. Just yesterday, he was homeless, and now, thanks to her, he has a roof over his head, but he has no idea how to properly repay her. His steady gaze softens her completely, melting her heart to the point she's ready to let him do whatever he wants with her. She gets up and says she wants to go on a date with him, but quickly takes it back, adding that she just needs him to come shopping and help with a few things. After that, they can cook together, since doing it alone is a bit tough. He offers to cook instead, as long as she's okay with instant noodles or something simple. She smirks at that, but quickly clarifies she's not making fun of his cooking. Actually, she really wants to try it. If it's something he makes, she's sure it'll be delicious. Touched by her praise, he smiles and says that if she wants him to cook, then he'll do it. She jumps with excitement, clearly thrilled. As planned, they end up visiting the supermarket, which is heavily crowded, and a lot of stuff is already out of stock. After they are done buying things, Yoshino observes that there is a long queue for the checkout. Hashikola points to self-checkout and claims that it's quicker this way, but when they go there, he asks if she can use the self-checkout. She obviously denies, and having no choice, he shows her how to scan the number on the shopper. However, she stares at his face instead of looking at the process, and, getting confused, he asks if there is something on his face. She says she was checking if he was wearing his mask properly, and he brushes off whatever she says. After that, she pulls out her fancy payment card that only rich baddies can afford and takes care of the payment, and seeing it, Yoshino opens his eyes in surprise, but he pretends he did not see anything. While they wander through the city, Yoshino notices how strangely empty the streets are, and the places that used to be as crowded as Times Square on a normal day now feel deserted. Then Hashikawa pops up before him and asks if he wants to go somewhere, as he is looking around for something. He tells her he wants to treat her to something to thank her for everything she's done for him, but everything is closed. Even though she asked him not to worry about it, he still feels bad about it. Hearing that, she suggests having a home cafe sometime, and he agrees, saying it sounds fun. On their way, he guides her to the pedestrian button, and she does as he says. They arrive at the main building, and he asks her to press the elevator button, but she says she does not know, so he points towards the button. However, he is fed up. He thinks that Hosokawa is the top student of their class who excels at everything. But she is also a human like him, and there are areas where she is not good at. Yet, not being good at machines is strange because he noticed she is not bad with machines, as he clearly remembers that when he came to her house first time, she pressed the button. And there are other things that are unnatural. She calls out his name, and looking at her gleaming eyes, he drops his frustration and thanks her for the hard work. In response, she gets pleased and thanks him for his hard work. He badly wants to know why she is lying about it, but he also wants to protect her angelic smile. She goes ahead and asks him to take a good rest at her house, as he must be tired from carrying bags. He thanks her for her concern, but he is concerned about other things. He wonders what benefit she would get by pretending not to know the machines. He is aware that she enjoys the reactions without bad intentions, but it's strange for her to show affection towards him. Being in complete denial, he guesses that the world is in a mess, and her weird behavior might be its result. After all, there is no way a girl like her has feelings towards him. Yoshino goes to the school to check how it is doing, but there is no soul lurking there. However, he is glad he has come alone and blushes, thinking that he gets weird ideas whenever he is at Hashikawa's house. He takes a walk around the school and observes that his dorm is still locked, and the grounds are off limits. He remembers he could hear club activities even during the weekends. Afraid of getting caught by the security guard, he decides to head back. As he walks, he thinks about how he got kicked out of the dorm and had nowhere to go. But now that things have settled, he realizes the world has truly changed. He returns home and rings the bell, where Hashikawa opens the door, already waiting for him, and welcomes him home with a pure smile that takes him by surprise. He also says, "I'm home," like a typical husband. She notices he looks a bit tired and wonders if something's wrong, but he brushes it off and says he's going to wash up. She quietly whispers that once he's done with his bath, they'll make dinner together. Everything still feels like a dream to him. He thinks that if he were alone, he might have given in to the loneliness, but everything is changed by staying with her. After he finishes his bath, he comes downstairs and sees Hashikawa wearing an apron, waiting to make dinner together. They cook side by side and eat until they're full, while Yoshino drifts into thoughts about his love life with her. Though she's great with machines, her act of pretending not to know things still puzzles him. Yet because he wants to keep living with her, he chooses to ignore the mystery. After all, he's still a grown man, and the idea of living with a class beauty and top student in such a luxurious setting definitely has its appeal. With his mind full of delusions, he convinces himself that anything is possible, that they might grow closer, and she might even fall in love with him. So he believes he must be careful and avoid doing anything that could upset Hashikawa or risk this sacred lifestyle. but it turns out to be Jinx. He happens to find an underwear. At first he stares at it for a while, and then goes crazy thinking it's just two of them in the home. So it means this underwear belongs to Hashikawa, and if she sees him carrying it, she will think badly of him. Just as he is worrying about it, she pops up before him and calls him indecent. He turns towards her with a worried expression, saying he is dead for sure this time. He kneels before her, apologizing to her, and says that when he came here, he felt something fall, so he just picked it up without realizing it was something like this. He imagines a worse scenario where she starts hating him and kicks him out, saying he is such a vulgar person that she did not think about. But to his surprise, she is calm and smiles, saying she is not mad at him and apologizes for leaving something weird in such a place. He again blurts out, saying it was not weird but silky. Realizing he has made another mistake, he apologizes to her again with certainty that she will despise him. Yet again, she sits next to him with a smile and says she does not mind it. He pulls up his head, and his eyes catch the heaven resting in her chest. He bends down, confessing he saw it all, and at this point, he does not care if he is kicked out. She hides her chest in embarrassment and claims that she doesn't mind it, just because it's Yoshino who saw all this. Confused, he gets up and mutters that she should be careful around him as he is a guy. She asks if he has said something, but he denies and takes his leave, saying she can use the dressing room first. He slams the door and runs away, thinking that he should not trouble Hashikawa by saying unnecessary things. Whereas Hashikawa is getting flustered because she has ended up doing something unpleasant. She dropped her underwear intentionally and planned to prank him, but somehow it turned out to be something terrible. On Sunday, he goes somewhere to spend a peaceful day, but he wonders if he can spend his day calmly with Hashikawa next to him. She sits very close to him, with less than 5 centimeters distance. She pulls out her mobile and tells him that her phone's display is not working. He already knows she's pretending, yet he still takes her phone to look for the bug. As he checks it, she sticks close to him, asking if she can watch him operate it. She might be able to remember it if she is close to him. He cannot deny her, but at the same time, he cannot focus on what is necessary. Back at home, she complains to Yoshino that hot water is not flowing through the tap. Out of nowhere, she grabs his hand and asks him to let her feel the warmth of his hands, as her hands had gotten cold because of the cold water. Just then, hot water starts flowing through the tap. After that, she complains that the bathroom lights do not work. As she hides behind him, he steps ahead and pushes the button, which seems to work fine. But Yoshino can feel she has clung onto him, and he clenches his fist in frustration because she pretends to be bad with machines and sticks to him as much as she wants. If he lets his guard down for a second, he might pin her down, and he does not want to let it happen, by controlling himself in order to protect her body in this lifestyle. He says the problem has been fixed even though there was no problem to begin with. Without knowing how much trouble he is going through already, she whispers her thanks, which gives him another wave of mixed feelings. Later, she takes a bath and wonders if Hashio is avoiding her, because whenever she tries to talk, he distances himself after the bathroom incident. She even realizes that she acted impulsively and clung to him enough that she ended up getting hated. She immerses herself in the bathtub with depression, but quickly gets up, thinking she cannot leave things like that. After the bath, they sit together in the lounge. She asks him if she has done something, to which he awkwardly replies, no, she has not done anything. Without realizing, she looks like a bomb. She turns backward and says that she notices he is avoiding her, or if it's just his imagination. He evades his eyes, saying it's just social distancing, but actually, he is afraid he might pin her down. She makes a sad and miserable face, agreeing with the fact that he would not like to catch something from her. He cannot see her like this and blurts out, denying her and saying that he would like to catch something from her. But when realizing what he has blurted out, he apologizes and denies what creepy thing he has said. She gets up to touch his thighs and asks if this distance is close enough for him not to get infected. He ends up accepting that this distance is okay for social reasons and regrets it later because the face she made pushes him to accept her condition. But if he continues like that, his efforts to maintain distance from her would be in vain. He glances at her and at least feels glad to see she is satisfied with him now. Hashikawa is also going through a terrible time, and she cannot focus on her mobile phone because the person she always used to see in class sits right next to her, and she can feel his warmth and his smell. But she is worried he will end up hating her, so she decides to be cautious around him and never cross her line. Dumb Hashikawa thinks that he has not figured out that her not being good with machines was a lie, however. She is slightly worried that he might be naturally suspicious of her, because she made up a lot of things on the spur of the moment. While she worries about such things, he looks at his mobile and sees that they have online classes starting tomorrow, and he worries if he will be able to make it through these classes with just 2 of them. He came to Hashikawa's house on Friday, spent a dreadful weekend, and now it's finally Monday. He walks to the bathroom to brush his teeth, but Hashikawa is already there. She greets him with a good morning, and her morning beauty steals his heart. He steps up to the sink, thinking about how fast the past few days have gone by. While brushing his teeth, he sees her yawn and thinks she looks cute, even while yawning. His eyes drift to her lips, but from his angle, he accidentally sees something bouncy and shocking, so he quickly shuts his eyes and forces himself to stay calm. Once she finishes washing up, she notices he's waiting to use the sink, so she steps aside to let him go ahead. But she trips over the mat and falls onto him, and when he tries to catch her, his hand ends up grabbing something soft and bouncy. He quickly pulls his hand back and apologizes, but to his surprise, she stays calm, saying it's alright, thanks him for helping her, and walks out of the bathroom. He feels kinda embarrassed and relieved, thinking she's not upset, especially since the whole thing was just an accident. He hopes that Hashikawa did not notice that he instinctively squeezed his fingers, not knowing she noticed it, and she is standing outside with a flushed face. He holds himself together and forgets whatever happened, as they have a remote class starting today. Normally, remote classes will be conducted using the routine schedule as students took classes in COVID emergence time. Teachers will be in the classroom, and students will wear a uniform and attend their classes through the internet. The last day, she suggested that they take classes together, but he refused, saying he does not want to distract her. Moreover, if their classmates find them together, it will cause an uproar. So following his plan, he will be taking his classes by himself. He takes the first class and tries to focus, since it's the first class and it will end early. Suddenly, he hears his teacher calling out Hashikawa, because she seems to be the only one who disconnected. But their teacher does not seem concerned, saying it's only Hashikawa who disconnected, and she would make it up somehow. Out of nowhere, she calls out Yoshino and asks him to solve the problem. Just when he is about to say anything, he notices that Hashikawa has come next to him, giving him a heart attack. He shouts, wondering why she has come here, and his teacher inquires what happened to him. To which he says that a cockroach appeared and he is going to disconnect for a while. He shuts down his laptop and turns towards her to ask what happened, but surprisingly, she is crying and trembling in fear. He quickly asks what happened, to which she asks with a shaking voice, where is the cockroach? He calms him down, saying he lied to their teacher so he could shut down his laptop. She takes a sigh of relief and comes to her business, telling him that her laptop stopped working, and when he asks her to give him the laptop to see the problem, she takes it and moves to another table and shows gestures, telling him to come there with his laptop. He wonders why he is saying it. Yet he goes there with his laptop and sees that she seems fine with it. She tells her problem that her laptop's screen suddenly turned black, and he quickly solves the problem by clicking the switch button and turns it on. He says that it was just turned off, to which she makes her expression like her lie has been caught. Once he is done, he is about to return to his table. She makes frowning expressions that he can read and wonders if she has done this on purpose so they could take their classes together. They both log into their classes with their own laptops, and their teacher notices both have come back and fixed their problems. He notices she is looking at him and wonders if she does not like him sitting next to her, but she gives a bright smile that strikes an arrow to his heart. He grasps that she does not like being next to her, and if she stays quiet, no one would notice they are together and might pull the classes like this. However, he regrets his decision later when she pokes his arm and whispers, saying her computer glitches again. He leans over slightly to check why the screen turned off, but she suddenly starts teasing him by blowing air into his ear. A shiver runs down his spine like an electric shock, and the worst part is that he can't make a sound. She doesn't stop there and tickles his hand, making him pull it back, but she just moves closer and starts gently rubbing it instead. Finally, their class ends, and he takes a sigh of relief, recalling that she has teased him around 30 times, and he cannot take it anymore. However, he wonders why she did that during class, and how it made him feel nervous, but also grateful at the same time, and starts thinking that maybe she did it just to make him happy. She shuts her laptop and calmly says, "Good work during the class." And judging by her smile, he realizes she enjoyed seeing his reactions. He looks at her for a moment, which makes her emotionally say whether he is mad and does not like what she did. Conflicted with his own feelings, he denies it and says he didn't dislike it, but was just surprised. The moment he realizes what he just said, he glances at her, where her sad face, adorned with beauty and charm, overwhelms him, and he can't help but think she's truly cute. And the difference between her usual self and student self is too great. He insists that he truly did not like it, so she suggests they take classes together like this from now on, and if she faces a problem with her laptop, he could sort it out immediately. At first, he seems fine with it, but eventually asks if she won't do anything weird, which leaves her astonished. She ponders it a little and gladly tells him that she won't do anything that he won't like. Her expressions give him strange vibes, but he is okay with classes together as long as she does not trouble him. She turns excited and looks forward to classes now. Just as planned, they take their classes together only if she does not tease him like she did the other day. The teacher asks Hashikawa one question, and she correctly gives her answers in a smooth and honorable way, like she has always been in the class. However, hearing it next to him is so relaxing to him that he ends up yawning during her answer. He quickly shuts his mouth, realizing his mistake, and sweats in worry. With that, their morning classes are over, and they will continue after lunch. Yoshino is so beaten up because he could not focus on his classes instead. He was amazed by her side profile and could hear breathing voices and the rustle of her clothes. While he is lost in thought, she calls out his name, which snaps him out, and she asks what he will do for lunch, as she has been planning to have lunch together with her friends after coming online on the app room, which works as Google Meet or Zoom. Yoshino is in a dilemma, wondering what to do because he has had no friends like that, and the person suggesting to have a room call is Sasaki Natsuki, who is an obsessed friend of Hashikawa, and he always seems to have trouble dealing with her. So he apologizes and asks her to continue without him, but she correctly guesses that he is saying this because he has not hung out with Natsuki and others. Consequently, she decides to introduce him to others, and she also happens to have made lunch for him already. He sees that there are different reasons he cannot refuse her, and ends up joining the room call with the girls, where obnoxious Hisaka gives him an unpleasant look, like she has seen a rotten banana and a pack of clean bananas. She even mutters what he is doing here, which is the reaction he kinda expected. Hashikawa speaks up, saying she thought it would be nice to eat together, so she invited Yoshino. Hisaka asks if she's that close to him, and Hashikawa replies that they've only gotten close recently, to which she gives a menacing stare. Poor Yoshino compares Hashikawa and Hisaka with Angel and Cerberus, and wants to leave the video call soon. Being an introvert, Yoshino keeps his mouth shut, wondering how Hisaka is friends with Hashikawa, while other girls continue their chatter about the virus and how they want to hang out. He feels like he is sitting at the corner of the classroom, but thanks to the lunch Hashikawa made, his exhaustion is lifted. Out of the blue, Hisaka asks Hashikawa if she still lives alone, and this question shocks Yoshino so much that he spits out his food. As Hisaka calls him noisy, he quickly apologizes. She then turns back to Hashikawa and asks if she ever feels lonely living by herself. Flustered, Hashikawa denies it, but her shaky reaction makes Yoshino break into a nervous sweat, thinking it wasn't convincing. Hisaka presses further, asking if she's lying, and leaves them both feeling doomed. In her response, Hashikawa insists that she really likes living alone, but Hisaka does not believe her and says she must be lonely, so she'll come over to keep her company. But Hashikawa awkwardly laughs and asks her to plan it for another day. After that, Hisaka hangs up the video call and Yoshino feels sorry for everyone because they are feeling lonely, but he has Hashikawa by his side. They both step up the stairs where Hashikawa turns back and says that Hisaka just texted her that she wants to visit her, so she wonders if she can come over here. Yoshino abruptly denies, but then apologizes and adds that she can make this decision on her own. If Hisaka comes here, it will be a nuisance, so he will just head out, as they cannot expose that they are living together. She seems puzzled about not wanting to tell anyone about them, but then she changes her expression to a teasing one and asks if they cannot tell anyone because it's their secret relationship, to which he quickly agrees. She really wanted to tell Hisaka, but if he says so, she will just give her a hint. Worried, Yoshino asks if it won't be a problem between Hisaka and her because of him living at her home, but she denies, saying he is not a bother at all. He blushes and thanks her for being kind to him in a lot of ways. She giggles and welcomes him, even though he does not need to thank her. However, Yoshino is not satisfied with just thanking her, and does not want to get spoiled by her like, so he plans to figure out how he should repay her. Ashikawa returns to her room, and seems so excited to hear his thanks, and her love for him intensifies. She wants to tell him how cool he is for letting her be spoiled, and she's genuinely happy his reputation is improving, even if he doesn't like it. She thinks that she had considered dropping hints to her friends about their real relationship, and wonders what would happen if she told them they were dating. But she quickly shakes off the thought, fearing he might distance himself, thinking he's causing her trouble. So she decides to be patient if she wants to stay by his side now and in the future. In the end, she simply apologizes to Hisaka for not inviting her over, but Hisaka just says it's alright. They continue their online classes together, with Hashikawa teasing him and provoking him like always. During their class, her eraser falls, and she bends down to pick it up. He wants to help, but he holds back, afraid that any reaction might reveal they're living together. Then, out of nowhere, she starts poking his thigh again, and he notices her teasing has gotten bolder, which makes him wonder if she's doing it on purpose, mainly because she actually likes him. Still, he can't figure out how someone like the class queen could possibly have feelings for an ordinary guy like him. But living with her isn't bad at all, as in a world as unpredictable as this, anything could happen. He's had fun during sports and class trips, but honestly, sharing a home with a beauty like her might be even better. Since that last time, he started joining the room call for lunch breaks. One day, when Hisaka asked for the page number for the homework, Yoshino is about to answer, but she shuts his mouth, saying no one is asking him. After that, during the class, he mobs why Hisaka treats him like a pest. Hashikawa whispers, asking what happened as he looks pale, to which he replies that he is feeling tired because he is sleepy and not used to afternoon classes. She comes up with a solution and asks him why he doesn't use her lap as a lap pillow, and she even lifts her skirt, showing her skin glowing more than shining stars. He blushes when he sees her thigh, but he notices she looks even more embarrassed than he is, and if he ignores her, she'll just quietly endure it. So he says it's alright. They'll use the sofa to take a nap, but she pouts, clearly displeased, and says she won't let him use the sofa unless he uses her lap as a pillow. When he suggests using the bed instead, she keeps opposing him and insists he can't even have that, not even the floor. At last, he agrees to use a lap pillow, yet he is afraid someone might notice them in the class, but reassures him that their bald teacher only looks at the textbook and board, so it will be fine. Having no other choice, he rests his head on her lap, which feels unexpectedly warm and soft, but he is restless as her thighs are so close. He takes a turn and looks upward, where she flicks his hair, saying his hair is too soft. He shows his concern and says he is afraid he might go bald, to which she decides to give him a message, and calmly rubs his head, which gives him peace of mind. However, he wonders what they are even doing during the class. She is so glad about it, and he is so nervous to fall asleep. During the weekend, he watches the news and hears that Golden Week starts today. But to him, it doesn't feel like a holiday after all. He's already been stuck at home for over half a month. Suddenly, someone calls him on room's free call, and he finds out that it's Hatsuki calling him. He gets afraid and does not want to pick up, so he ignores it until it ends, but she keeps on calling him, and he ends up picking it up eventually. She is as rude as a drama queen on Zero Sleep and nags him for picking up her call late. He asks why she has called him, to which she asks what the relationship is between Hashikawa and him. It leaves him utterly shocked, and he simply replies that they are classmates, to which she says she is aware. Then he says they are friends, but she is still dissatisfied, and he continues to say they are humans. She gets pissed off at his answer. He boldly asks what she even wants to know, and she exposes that she is worried because Hashikawa invited him to the room call, and a weird bug like him might hatch on her. He considers it rude to come right to his face, and she says she is technically on a phone call, not saying it directly to his face, but he should drop it and answer her questions. To her surprise, he tells her that Hashikawa was having trouble with Wi-Fi, so he just helped her request. She is shocked to hear because it's rare for her to get troubled. Now she mentions it. He has never seen her asking for help from anyone except before the entrance ceremony. He lets his intrusive thoughts win and asks why she is friends with Hashikawa. At first, she gets displeased with this question, but then explains that Hashikawa is someone she admires because she helped her in her studies in middle school and got her into high school. She owes her a lot, and that's why she wants to crush any bugs lurking around her. Besides, she asks if he knows where she lives. This leaves him in a miserable state, and he replies awkwardly that she might live around the school, but Izaka emphasizes that she is talking about Hashikawa's parents and sends him a link. He opens the link and sees a big hospital. On the call, she explains that it's the hospital run by Hashikawa's parents, and her father is both a doctor and the board chairman. That makes him think she's more like a real-life princess than the rumors suggest, which also explains why she lives in a luxury apartment and uses a debit card for shopping. But he says, "I see," to which she asks if this is the only thing he can say, so he casually says that it must be hard to run a hospital like this. She drops this for now and comes to the business, spitting the fact that someone like him can't be with someone like her, and he replies that he has always thought the same from the start. Out of the blue, he asks why she always seems to hate him. Just as she's about to reveal something huge, she suddenly says he drives her crazy and warns him that if he ever lays a hand on her, she won't let him get away alive. After she hangs up the call, he rests back in the bed and realizes that nothing will work out between him and Izaka. He walks up to the kitchen to get the water, where Hashikawa pops up and worriedly asks if something happened, and he replies that he was on a call with Izaka. This drops a bomb on her, and she wonders if they were close to each other or whether he is trying to get close to her. When he denies all of it, she questions why he has called him, to which he replies that she asked him the kind of relationship he has with Hashikawa, and he just said that he helped her securing Wi-Fi. She does not seem satisfied with what he answered and says that she could have said more, so it's like he did not say enough. He misunderstands her muttering and claims that he will clearly say they both are just strangers, to which she awkwardly laughs and grasps that things have come to this. He sees that she has a depressing look and asks if he is misunderstanding something, but she denies, even though her face says yes. At night, she gazes out the window, regretting how everything turned out beyond her expectations. Somehow, she ended up becoming the bridge between Yoshino and the other girls, and she never imagined Hizaka would call him her beloved boy, and worst of all, she had even shown a jealous face right in front of Yoshino. She worries that if more girls start talking to him, they might fall for him too. She knows she's being a bit possessive, maybe even selfish, but she can't help it, and that's why she's determined to make sure Hizaka never finds out they're living together. Hashikawa gets a call from Hizaka, who tells her that the Golden Week is around the corner and a dessert-making trend has just started, fitting for the pandemic. Hashikawa talks with Yoshino and reminds him of what she said about home coffee, so she suggests they make a huge pudding together. She has already prepared the ingredients, and they wear the matching aprons. First of all, they have to melt gelatin, but with a sad face, she says that she does not know how long it has to be heated. He is already aware that she knows how to microwave because when she was alone in the kitchen, he heard her using it, but he cannot say it. Anyways, he mixes the gelatin with water and sets up the timing in the microwave as suggested on its box. As usual, she is so close to him that he asks if she is not a bit close to the microwave, to which she gives a typical response that she thought it would be useful to learn how the microwave works. Even now, he does not care what she says because her cuteness overcomes her lies. He goes on mixing ingredients while she stares at him with puppy eyes that could slay him with cuteness. She cuts him off, saying he's worked hard enough, and that now, she wants to help him too. Accepting her request, he then asks her to put the liquid mixture into the container, and this way, he won't have to use machines. He feels like he has become a chef like Soma Food Wars, and he can cook anything, even though he just knows how to make cup noodles. She says she liked the noodles he made the other day, but he shares his opinion that he personally prefers her handmade dishes, as the breakfast and lunchboxes she makes are as delicious as the dishes of Soma. However, he realizes that he should not say it. After all, he is already a freeloader, and it's better to learn how to cook by himself. But she cuts him and emphasizes that she will be more than happy to make dishes for him. It moves his heart, and he says if it's not bothering, he would like to keep eating them. The next day, they wonder if the pudding is ready and flip over the pot to find it has set perfectly. Yoshino picks up the plate and gives it a little shake through which the pudding jiggles like slime, incredibly wobbly. He keeps shaking it, which makes Hashikawa burst into laughter, and seeing her laugh, Yoshino starts laughing too. Later, they sit down to enjoy the pudding, which turns out to be really delicious, but they made so much that they worry they won't be able to finish it. Hashikawa suggests freezing the rest and eating it with ice cream next time, and Yoshino wishes that they could invite others over, but that would only cause problems. But something changes around Hashikawa, and she claims that she's honestly happy just being alone with him, because when she's around him, she gets to be her true self and feels like returning to her childhood, which is so relaxing. She continues that she spent her childhood alone since her parents were busy with their jobs. Yoshino recalls what Izaka told him about Hashikawa's childhood, that her parents managed a hospital and her grandparents played a role in her upbringing. When she used to see her friends spending quality time with their parents, she got jealous and felt like they were things she could not do with her grandparents. He thinks that before he thought that she was a perfect beauty with no flaws, but this is her true self. Hashikawa claims that she does not hate her parents, but she grew up seeking to be spoiled by someone, and maybe that's why she always wanted to be spoiled by him. When she realizes that she is blurting such stuff, she apologizes, saying she is a grown-up and should not say such stuff now. Yoshino interrupts her, saying age does not matter, and he cannot say that he understands her better. But there are times when he also wants to get spoiled. He confesses that if he is enough for her, then he would love to spoil her. She opens her eyes in surprise and wonders if it's really okay, and when he gives her surety, she smiles and says, "Let's do that." She scoots over close to him and rests her head on his shoulders, and he blushes, thinking that he has touched her several times unintentionally. But this time, it's different, and the parts touching each other are really warm. He feels like he learned a lot about her today, and he wonders if they will be closer to each other after continuing like this. After filling their bellies to their best, Yoshino almost feels drowsy, but then Hashikawa comes with a console and suggests that they should play games since there is still time before they sleep. He agrees but wonders if she enjoys the games, and hearing it, she freezes for a moment and denies it, saying she has never played games before and she has bought it, just in case she has friends over. When she unboxes the console, Yoshino goes crazy looking at it, because it's the latest gaming console and it's hard to get hold of. They turn on the screen and he sees that there are already games downloaded, and she points to one game to play. She asks when they were downloaded, to which she replies it was 1 month ago. They start playing a game, and he teaches her how to play. Meanwhile, he realizes that she has prepared everything 1 month ago. He comes to the straight point, saying she has invited him home and treated him kindly, so what would she like to do next? She does not get what he means, which makes him flustered, and just as he tries to say what he means, she confesses that she wants to get close to him, and reminds him that they did not have common in class, but she always wanted to get close to him. So she thought if they had fun like this, they might grow things common in them. He also confesses that she wants to get closer to her, which makes her so excited, and they continue their gameplay, where he teaches her how to make moves and win the game. After that, they clean up the mess. When she goes to put the console back, his mobile rings with multiple notifications, which worries him about what's going on in the world outside. As he scrolls his social media app to look for it, Hashikawa returns and tells him that she is going to take a bath, but he kinda ignores her. Suddenly, she comes up with something and runs, asking him to go first and take a bath. Leaving no choice, he goes first and takes a bath, thinking about what happened today, and plans to take a rest after that. However, he hears something in the bath and suddenly, Hashikawa pops up and pokes his back, making a typical hot spring scene. At first, he remains calm, but gets shocked when he realizes that Hashikawa has intruded on the bath. He asks her why she has come here, when she clearly said he could go in first, to which she says she did get in the bath after him. She keeps poking his back that confirms she is doing it on purpose to see his reactions, but he is without clothes. Talking about clothes, he inquires as she came in dressed up, and when he learns that she is in a towel, he asks her to get out of here as they both are undressed. However, she is confident, saying that she has a towel on and he should relax a bit, and she is doing it just once to get closer to him. He closes his eyes, questioning if she seriously has a towel on, and nags her that the pranks have limits, to which she says she is not pranking her. He then wonders if she did not feel uncomfortable entering a guy's bath. She gets up to explain herself, but she slips and instinctively, he turns back and grabs her, saving her from falling. In embarrassment, she quickly gets up and takes her leave, letting him take a bath first. Back there, he also gets red as a tomato in embarrassment, thinking that she saw him undressed and wonders how he will explain everything to her when he gets out. On the other hand, Hashikawa takes the bath and recalls that she enjoyed the day together with him and thought that they had gotten a bit closer. She tried to be more daring and inviting with the hope that they might get even closer and rushed a bit to keep him away from other girls, but she got a worse outcome. Moreover, she was misunderstood for showing her body to any guy, but in reality, she mustered the courage to come to the bath just because it was Yoshino. She is embarrassed, realizing she saw him undressed, and wonders how she will show her face when she comes out of the bath. After the bath incident, their first encounter turns a little awkward, and the atmosphere between them grows tense and uneasy. During the classes, she tries to say something, but cuts off before she finishes off, and she does not touch him either, which makes sense to Yoshino. And he claims that if things continue like this, they will not be able to stay together. Once they collect the console after playing the games, they hear the breaking news that week after the Golden Week marked the first month of the declared state of emergency. And now, the state of emergency is completely lifted, and this news breaks the sweat of both of them. At the same time, Yoshino's mobile rings with a notification from the school group that says their school and dorms will be reopened from next week. He tells Hashikawa that he'll be returning to his dorm next week, and she pauses to confirm, asking if he's really going back. He nods, saying he can't stay there forever, but notices she seems a bit sluggish and her face is slightly red. Concerned, he asks if she's feeling okay, and she replies that she's just a little tired, nothing more. Still worried, he suggests checking her temperature. So she gets a thermometer, and it turns out her temperature is higher than normal. She brushes it off, saying it's no big deal, and insists she's fine. But being the caring husband material type, he gently tells her to lie down while he makes dinner, adding that he can cook more than just instant noodles, thinking like he is Sanjiang. In the kitchen, while searching for a porridge recipe, he wonders whether it's just a regular cold or something more, but either way, he just wants to be helpful. After he makes porridge, he walks up to her, where she tries to wear a mask not to spread her flu, but he says he might have already caught it, and she does not worry about it. So she asks how he is feeling, to which he says he is all right, but what about her? She says she is feeling exhausted and awful since her clothes are sticky due to sweat. He contemplates that she must be sweaty all over her body, and if she stays like this, she will get cold after the built-up sweat vaporizes. He suggests she change her clothes without taking a bath, and childishly, she says she will take a bath together with him, but he does not want it to happen, and when she tries to get up to take a bath alone, he refrains her from going, asking her to lie down and focus on getting well. He decides to bring the wet towels, and after he returns, he sees that she is already snoring, so he turns back with a plan to get her wiped later. She suddenly speaks up, saying she wants to be wiped off because it feels too sticky, but he hesitates as touching a sleeping beauty without permission doesn't feel right. She insists she'll get sick, but when he asks if she's awake, she responds with a fake snore. Realizing she's up to her usual tricks, he tries to just cover her with a blanket, but she throws it off, mumbling that it's both hot and cold. Frustrated, he finally decides to wipe her down, but the moment he sees her sweat-soaked maiden body, he instantly regrets it. With no other choice, he starts with her face, gently wiping the sweat while doing his best to stay calm. And when he moves down to her neck, he struggles with his self-control and keeps his thoughts in check. Next comes changing her pajamas. He nearly loses it, trying hard not to do anything beyond what's necessary. He eventually changes her clothes, but the whole moment feels like a blur, and afterward, he can barely remember it clearly, as his mind had checked out entirely. He opens his eyes, which sting from having squeezed them shut so tightly, and notices that Hashikawa is awake and looking at him, but when he turns towards her, she fakes her sleep, and he observes that she is blushing, not just due to fever. However, he cannot do anything in such a situation and takes his leave, after greeting goodnight. Yet, her fever does not alleviate. They don't learn if she has a fever due to a virus or not, and no hospital is willing to take a patient with a high fever, and some clinics attend to his call and casually ask him to stay inside in quarantine. Due to the hopeless situation, he wonders if the situation hasn't gotten better outside and lifted the state of emergency. Then, why are hospitals not taking any patients? He pulls himself together and does not cloud his thoughts with useless worries. He goes to her room and asks how she is feeling, to which she says she is tired, as she was on the first day of fever. He suggests she call her parents, but she denies, saying she does not want to worry them. But Yoshino tries to make her understand that she will worry them by not contacting them. She insists that she does not want to make his father worried as he is busy with his work. He wonders if her father has always put his work priority over her, and if she is saying it because of the loneliness she endured in her childhood. He apologizes for crossing his line, but she says she is the one who should say sorry, and she is afraid of the scenarios when her father gives her priority over his work. Yoshino leaves her room and thinks about what to do now, because contacting her parents seems the right choice, but he cannot disregard her wish either. At the same time, he worries that the one who should wipe her sweat should be the one he trusts the most. In this situation, their teacher is the prime pick, but she will eventually call her parents, so it leaves him with one option, and he goes to the bath where Hashikawa cannot hear him. Nervous, he makes a call to Simpizaka, knowing that it will ruin his relationship with his girlfriend, but he does not have other choice. She picks up his call and rudely blurts what he wants, and he says he has a request. Yoshino discloses everything from his stay at his girl's home to how she is bedridden, and the response Izaka gives to him is die, which is to be expected from her. She quickly gets prepared to come over there, to which he asks if she is actually coming there and not afraid of getting a virus. She says she does not care about herself, but she absolutely cannot let him take care of her bestie. After taunting each other, Izaka says he will need to open the gate, as she will not awaken her bestie. After a while, she arrives there and learns that Yoshino is in her room, and when she goes there, she sees her bestie showing her maiden body. It pisses her off and nags him, asking if he continued living after seeing her like this, and she goes to button up her shirt. Later, they set up a conference table, where Izaka tells him that she will be staying there for a while and will take care of her bestie. He thinks that it's as he expected, and thanks her before relinquishing his duties on her, and saying that he will go and check if there is any hospital that might take her in. He says that the information on the sites is not always accurate, so he will physically visit the hospitals. He says that as Hashikawa is refusing to tell her parents about this, so this is their best bet without causing trouble for anyone. Izaka questions if he is not afraid of going to the hospital during the pandemic, but he taunts her back, pointing how she came all this way despite the pandemic herself. She blushes, saying she is doing everything for Hashikawa, and besides, it's not even confirmed that her bestie has a virus, but he can bring one by going outside. He claims that this will not be an issue as he will be taking his leave, and he has come to this conclusion after thinking that his further stay will cause trouble for Hisaka, and Hashikawa will probably mess with him and lure him towards herself. Hisaka is shocked to hear this and questions where he plans to stay as dorms are still closed, to which he says he will manage it somehow, and that dorms will open next week. Meanwhile, she will spend his days in the park and won't take classes until he returns. He gets up with confidence, saying he will be searching for hospitals and contact her as soon as he finds one. And she also needs to call him for whatever she needs. Since he owes his girl a lot, he should at least be able to do that. He had nowhere to go and was the only one without a home, but she came to him as a light and gave him food and a roof over his head. He has already packed his things and cleaned his room, and he will be taking some shirts that he will return later. After an impressive speech, he sees off Hisaka and takes his leave. However, nothing works as planned, and he gets refused by every hospital. Even though he expected it, but he did not think that every hospital would be in denial to take her. He roams around the park under the moonlight, and he worries about what if he cannot find any hospital tomorrow or forever, and wonders what Hashikawa would be doing. Suddenly his mobile rings and he sees that it's a message from Hisaka, saying she managed to get her bestie admitted to the family hospital, so he needs to relax. He bursts into excitement and wonders if Hisaka talked with her and put her at ease. He is really curious about it and wants to call her to learn, but he hesitates, thinking she would be at the hospital, and not knowing how it happened, he believes Hisaka's words. He spends the next 3 days crashing in the park and learns that people are really afraid to come outside, only a few people who came to take their dogs for a walk, and the ones going for a run. He recalls that he met Hashikawa in the middle of April, as when Kosai met Kaori, and it's almost the middle of May. Somehow, he manages to pull the 3 nights, but he gets tired due to the uncomfortable sleeping place. On the first night, he tries sleeping on a bench, but due to having a hard as steel support, his back gets hurt. On the second night, he tries sleeping on grass, which turns out to be worse. So he comes back to the bench, which almost cracks his body to almost breaking it. Now, it's the morning of the 4th day, and he cannot move his body, but he has to keep up and wait for the dorms to open. He closes his eyes, wishing the police would find him and take him to the station. Suddenly, he notices someone approaching him, and opens his eyes to see Hashikawa next to him. And he cannot believe his eyes that she has actually come, and wonders why she is here. Shocked, Yoshino asks what she is doing, as according to the message Hisaka sent him, she was supposed to be admitted to the hospital, to which she clarifies that she just got a checkup there. Anyways, he wonders if she has any problems that were diagnosed, and she denies, saying she did not even need to be hospital, but her father was overprotective and did a full body checkup. Her virus test came out as negative, though she was infected with bacteria, because her immune system got weakened due to not getting outside, and if someone shares a space with an infected person, they still do not get infected, then it means they don't need to be worried about it. He asks about her condition, to which she gives credit to him and Hisaka for taking care of her, and taking proper measures, so she ended up taking antibiotics on time. He pulls back to the bench, thanking God, and takes a sigh of relief. Hashikawa steps closer to him, and he remarks that she's getting a bit too close, but she replies it's not close enough, and suddenly wraps her arms around him, showing him what close enough really means. She admits she was relieved to see him okay, especially after finding him barely conscious on the bench. The moment reminds him of the first time they met, and he points out how similar it feels. However, she starts getting sentimental, which makes Yoshino emotional. He never imagined someone would be so worried just because he didn't come home, and he quietly promises himself not to make her feel that way again. She softly whispers that even this distance isn't enough to show how she feels about him, and then she gently grabs his hand, pulls him forward, and says she came to take him home, a place where they'll grow even closer to each other. He worries that Hisaka might have been there, but Hashikawa says she is long gone, which gives him a hint that Hisaka might have gone, complying with what Hashikawa says. She teases him, saying that when they are home, they will get closer to each other. When he returns, he feels a sense of relaxation, even though he stayed here for just a month. She asks why he is still wearing a mask, to which he says he stayed outside for 3 days, and he is afraid he might have caught a virus. He will be freeloading on her until the dorms are reopened, so he will try his best not to cause trouble for her. And she is also wearing a mask, so he does not mind if they stay like this. She giggles and steps closer to her, assuming he would not keep his demeanor and treat her as a stranger. But he steps back and warns her about the distance between them, as she has gotten better, and he does not want her to catch something again. However, she does not care even if she catches it, and his precautions leave her no choice but to act on something that she expected him to do. She puts her hands on his shoulder and smooches on his mask, making it an indirect kiss. She lowers her mask and shows her lethal face card, saying that if she had nothing, now, she would have definitely caught what he had. With guts, less than a mere kid, he blushes hard and covers his face with his arm. She puts her mask on and calls him stubborn, to which he blushes and claims that he does not want to see her in pain. She smiles and says that she really likes this side of him, and asks him to take the mask off later, but he says he will take it off after going to the dorms. She gets upset and asks if her home is not comfortable, to which he agrees that it's comfortable, but he has already made up his mind that he will return to his dorm. Besides, he thinks that this kiss has made it clear that he is head over heels for her, and if he stays here anymore, he won't be able to control his emotions and might pin her down. Unwillingly, she understands what he means and says that if he has decided, then she cannot do anything. What kind of tactics will Hashikawa use to get closer to Yoshino? Will they ever have such quality time together after he returns to his dorm? Will he ever be able to confess his feelings for her? There are still a lot of tense scenes waiting for them. Tell us your thoughts down in the comments. And if you're enjoying this story, don't forget to drop a like and subscribe for more videos like these. See you in the next video.